Let me show you 5 rules that I've learned over the last 20 years of cleaning that have helped me feel less overwhelmed, clean faster, and most importantly, make the job easier too. Rule number 1 is always clean top to bottom. Now, this one might seem kind of obvious to some, but this is something I had to learn the hard way early on in my cleaning career because I just kind of saw dirt and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna clean it. Then I'm gonna see more and I'm gonna clean that and then I'm gonna clean this over here. And what would happen is, yes, those areas would get clean, but then usually I'd have to clean something a little bit higher, and then I would clean that and the dust would fall and make that area dusty again, and I would just have to do the work twice. So to really be more efficient, when you start at the top of the room and clean your way down, so let's say you're starting with like the walls and dusting those, or you have a vent up high. You clean that, then you go to like the cabinets or a countertop or shelves, clean those, and then you work all the way down to the floor, so then you can sweep, vacuum, and mop the floor after. Really, you're working against gravity if you do it any other way, and I have tried to work against gravity a few times in my life, and I always lose for some reason. But so when you use gravity to benefit your cleaning, all the dust is gonna fall, it's gonna make everything so much easier. But then the nice thing too is the areas that you clean as you go stay clean so you don't have to do the work twice. A quick pro tip and something to look out for when you start implementing this rule is to always make sure to dust the tops of ledges here, like on your door frames or your window frames. The reason I bring this up is this is something I would forget from time to time early on in my career, and I would get like halfway down the door or the area and I'm like, oh no, I forgot to clean that. It just kind of makes a mess as you go. So remember those areas. Another area too to consider when you're cleaning like your shower, like tubs around there. Many times there's a little like inch gap around the shower or tub, and that area likes to collect a ton of dust as well. And there's nothing worse than getting your shower nice and clean and then you go to wipe that down and your rag is full of dust and then it just smears all over your nice clean porcelain or fiberglass. So look out for those areas. Rule number 2 is to always dry clean first, then wet clean. Now this one again might seem a little obvious to some, but this really sets your cleanup for success as you go. Because essentially, as simple as it is, if you spray wet cleaner down on a bunch of dry dirt, turns into mud, and then you have to remove that mud from the surface that you're cleaning, and it just makes everything so much harder. For instance, if you're cleaning carpet, this is an area that is extremely important to remove as much dry soil as possible, because if you don't, once that gets wet, it just sticks to the carpet fibers and it's so much harder to remove from those areas. Another area, and I talk about this a lot in my videos, you've probably heard me say it, is your hard surfaces. If you have something like a wood grain texture or like an LVP luxury vinyl plank floor, the dry dust is going to stick into kind of those grooves and things. And if you spray cleaner down on top of that, it just glues itself there and it's so much harder to remove. And many times you have to scrub there and it just makes, again, the cleaning process so much longer and it doesn't really have to be. So by just taking a few extra minutes to dust the surface, vacuum the surface, just remove that first easy layer of debris, your clean is gonna go so much better. One area that you can put this rule into practice right away, even today in your home, is to always dust your toilet before you spray those cleaners down. And kind of seems a little counterintuitive because dusting a toilet to some is a little gross. You can just use some simple toilet paper or even a paper towel. I like to use an old Swiffer just because I keep them in my kit and just have them and throw them away once I'm done. But this is just gonna pull off all of that hair and dry stuff that's on the toilet that usually is so hard to remove once it gets sticky and just makes the whole clean so much faster. So give this one a try and let me know what you think. Rule number 3 is to let your cleaner do the work. And this is something I see all too often when I'm training new cleaners. They just spray the cleaner down, immediately start wiping or scrubbing. And yes, I know cleaning sometimes is all about speed and just getting the job done, but when you let the cleaner sit there and do its job and work and really dwell on that surface to break down all the grime and grease or whatever's there, you're actually gonna clean faster because you don't have to do as much work, you don't have to do as much scrubbing because you can let that sit while you go clean something else. One area where cleaners really need their time to do their job is cleaning your oven or really anything greasy, because grease is just so hard to break down, but time can really help those degreasers cut through that. So for instance, if you spray your oven down with oven cleaner, give it a quick scrub and then wipe down again because you're trying to be fast and efficient. I get it, that's what I do too, but it's just not gonna do its good job. the grease is not gonna be emulsified and broken down so you can easily rinse it away, and you're just gonna have to scrub so much longer. You're gonna use way more cleaner too, because you gotta keep spraying it, scrub, rinse, and just repeat that process until it's clean. Whereas if you spray it on there, let it sit for 30 minutes to an hour, and then you come back to it, you can easily wipe it away, and the job is super simple. Now, something to look out for with dwell time though, is you wanna make sure you always read the product label first, because some cleaners have very specific ways and times that they want you to use them. For instance, bleach needs at least 30 seconds on a surface, and that surface needs to remain wet for it to disinfect. Now, other cleaners too kind of have a time limit where it's like, if you let this sit for too long, it's gonna work so well and it's gonna start eating away at the surface. Barkeeper's friend, I love it, but it is an acid. So if you spray that down and walk away for a half hour, you're probably gonna etch something and it's not gonna be good. So make sure you read the labels, and as I always say, I literally need a t-shirt of this, but the label is the law, follow it. Now, speaking of dwell time, that is actually a very important part of the overall cleaning pie. And really, once you learn the cleaning pie, you're gonna use it everywhere around your house because it just makes sense. There's a great acronym that I like to use to remember it, and that is TACT. So it's temperature, agitation, chemical, and time. I know those might seem like a bunch of random words, and great, another acronym I need to remember, but stick with me here. I'll kind of walk you through how I like to implement it in my everyday cleaning. And once you get used to it, it's just super easy and you don't even really think about it. You just know kind of what steps to take. So for instance, temperature. Let's say you're doing your laundry. You're gonna choose if you're gonna need hot water or cold water for various items, because if you choose the wrong temperature, you're going to ruin it. And that really helps get your laundry clean. And really, you can use that temperature in anything you clean, your floors, or even rinsing something. Usually warm water is gonna be better in some of those scenarios, but we all know too, cold water has its place. Agitation is a great one because you're thinking about what scrubber should I use on this surface. Some things will require steel wool, while other things will be super gentle, so you don't want to use something aggressive that could cause damage and scratch. Now, chemical is pretty self-explanatory, but you just want to choose the right chemical for what you're cleaning. Not only do you want to choose the right one that's going to break down the grime on the surface, but also you want to choose the right one that won't damage what you're cleaning as well. And time, well, we just talked about that one. Let the cleaner do the work so you don't have to do as much scrubbing. Rule number 4 is to always be cautious with chemicals. Now, obviously you need to use some cleaners to get the job done, but there are a few things I always like to recommend to be as safe as you can. The first is always wear proper PPE or personal protective equipment. You guys know I love to use my green gloves, and that's for a reason. Not only does it protect my hands, but it also protects me against the cleaners that I'm using as well. Now, sometimes when you're using various cleaners, you might even want to step that up a little bit. For instance, with oven cleaner, it's not a bad idea to maybe even wear a mask or safety glasses because it is pretty strong. And another thing along with that is you want to make sure to open up windows or turn a fan on, because good ventilation through the room that you're cleaning is extremely important, because the faster you can get fresh air through the room, the better. Now, the other side of this is you really want to be cautious and, in my experience, stay away from mixing most cleaners together. For instance, if you mix bleach and ammonia or bleach and vinegar, you will produce a harmful gas, and that can be life-threatening, so we don't even want to touch that at all. There are a few cleaners that I like to mix, like a DIY mix, like vinegar and a little bit of dish soap, but because those are so mild, you're not gonna have any issues and you're not gonna have any reactions. Now, the other side of mixing cleaners is sometimes people think that, okay, if I mix these two awesome cleaners together, I will make the ultimate cleaner. And many times that really is not the case. Yes, you could produce harmful gases, which is very dangerous, but the other side of that is many times you neutralize your cleaners so they don't work as well. For instance, baking soda and vinegar is a very common hack to mix those together. You see those awesome bubbles, it looks amazing, but really they're just reacting, and once it's done, you have salt water, and that's not really gonna clean anything. So whenever you're using cleaners throughout the day, just remember to be cautious. Rule number 5 is to always test before you clean. And this really comes into play if you're cleaning a new surface or maybe even using a new cleaner, because many times the first time you use it, you're not quite sure how everything is going to react. So I always mention just always test a small inconspicuous area. Maybe if you're cleaning a couch, behind the couch that's against the wall or underneath a cushion. That way you can go through the whole cleaning process and really see, is this going to be good or is it going to be bad? For instance, one time, this still pains me to talk about, but I did not test a couch that I was cleaning for a client. I just looked at it and kind of assumed, yep, everything should be fine. Went through my whole regular cleaning process, it dried, and I totally ruined it. It browned out, it shrunk because there were some natural fibers in there, and I just didn't use the right process because I didn't take a few extra minutes beforehand to do the right tests. So learn from my mistake, just take a few extra seconds. It can really help you because then you'll know, okay, I can move forward and clean this item, or sometimes if it's really delicate, you'll know to call a professional. So those are just a few of my favorite cleaning rules that I use every day, and hopefully you can use them too and really level up your clean around your house. Thanks so much for watching as always, and if you're new here, consider subscribing and smash that like button. I also need to give a shout out to the Clean Squad members over on our Patreon. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you want to join us over there and get access to things like PDF cleaning guides, your name credited down in the video below, or I have this new thing I've been doing every Monday. I answer your cleaning questions in a special video. Definitely check the link down in the description. And as always, I'll see you on the next clean.